Hey everyone, if you're watching this, you're probably watching the replay, so I probably had a really great conversation with Jerry Wise. If you are starting to join here live, welcome, welcome. I'm just waiting for Jerry to join us so we can go live together. We've been having a few little technical issues, but I think we are going to figure it out this time. So hopefully he will be here in the extremely near future and we will do this. So, welcome everyone. So glad to see all of you here. Hello, hello. I still don't see Jerry. This is funny. We're gonna figure this out. Still don't see him. We're gonna figure this out. Oh, technology. But yeah, whilst we wait, feel free to share where you're from. I'm a daydreamer. I did one of your groups a few years ago. Nice to see you again. Is that Cheryl? I think that's Cheryl. So great to see you, and absolutely I remember you, and so glad to see you here. So nice you're still following me, you're still learning, that's amazing. Super, super, super glad to see you here. And we had Kathleen earlier when I tried to go live before. Yes, it is Cheryl, amazing. I remember your username. I remember everyone that I work with. So that is so cool. Yay, amazing. I hope you're doing well, Cheryl. Super, super happy to have you here. So life-changing, amazing. So glad to hear. Kathleen is still here too. I have two past clients here, so while we wait for Jerry to join, if you've got questions for them, go for it. I'm just kidding. Don't harass my clients. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I have the DMs open with Jerry on my computer here, so I'm just waiting to hear from him. And hopefully we will be doing this live very, very soon. But yeah, while we wait, say hi in the chat. He's typing. Okay, he's typing. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Sorry. Thank you for your patience, those of you who are... Okay, he doesn't see me live, so that's strange. Weird. This is odd. So for whatever reason, Jerry does not see me live. Maybe this is why no one sees when I go live, because it just doesn't show up. So that's interesting. Instagram algorithm conspiracy theories in the making. Hopefully he will see me live. And then I don't know, maybe I'll have him start the live next time if we still can't figure this out. Because I don't know what to tell you guys. Yeah, he's still not here. Okay, someone DM him the live. Yeah, maybe that could work. If anyone is following him, his username's Jerry T Wise. Maybe if someone DMs him the live, maybe he'll see it. Cheryl, it showed as a pop-up that you were live, and if he clicks your profile, he should see it. Yeah, apparently he doesn't see it. So we'll see, hopefully, we'll see. I have faith that he's going to see it and he will join, and this live's gonna happen. Whether Instagram wants it to happen or not. Or maybe if I send it to him. Let's see if this works. But then now I don't even see him in my DMs. This is wild. There he is. Yay. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Amazing. Hopefully this is working. Yay! Oh my God, yay! How exciting.
I am so
It's
sorry.
okay. Don't worry. We figured it out. We made it happen. That's all that
Let
matters.
me, let me get this so I can do it. So it's up here where we can actually see me. And can you hear me okay,
Yes.
Adrian?
Yes.
And you can see me
Yes.
okay.
And
And I
you can
see
see
you.
me
You
and
look
hear
great.
me?
You're
Great.
right.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
It's,
Oh no.
I'll take the blame for our. Oh, there you go. Now you're. We have
This
the.
live's gonna happen.
This live. It's something
Wow.
doesn't want it to happen. Maybe
Seriously.
we're gonna
Everything
make
that could
this
go
happen.
wrong.
We're gonna make
It's
this
happening.
happen.
It's happening. Whether the algorithm gods want it to happen or not, it's
It's
happening. We are here.
going to. Wonderful.
Awesome. All right. So
Uh,
we are here and we are live. Welcome, Jerry. Super excited to have you here. We're gonna have like, a conversation. We're gonna ask each other some questions. We're gonna wing it. It's gonna be great. So I'll just start off with having Jerry kind of, say hi. Feel free to introduce yourself, what you're all about, all that great stuff, and we'll take it from there.
I can do that. Obviously, I am much older than Adriana, and I have IT issues or
It's okay, don't worry.
technology issues, and I do pretty well, but I'm not as experienced on the Instagram. So now I know much better what to do now.
Exactly.
And but actually, that has been a journey of mine as well. In that there was some information, work, theory, recovery helps that I wanted to share with people, and I knew I could reach a broader audience if I um, was able to do some technological things like YouTube and the videos. And so now I've got like 500 plus videos on YouTube. And so I've come a long way
Amazing.
doing that. And it's been a really big help to spread the word, not so much to make me famous, which I am not, but to get information to people that could benefit that them in the way it benefited me.
Exactly.
And that's what I've wanted to do. And so I started Jerry Wise Relationship Systems on
Amazing.
YouTube and the website, and horribly long name.
Oh,
It's
mine's horribly long too, don't
Oh,
worry.
that's right. I know yours. Right, right, and that's always fun. I have to spell that out for you, and the those kind of problems. But those people who have found me on YouTube, Instagram, and different places have, I think, benefited from the work that I presented regarding adult children of narcissists, getting narcissistic families and family programming out of us,
Hmm.
learning to recover in a way through self differentiation, and also learning family systems um, thinking so that they can navigate their recovery in a much more healthy way. So that's what I have wanted to do and share.
Amazing. Amazing. So
And
glad that
it
you're
is a
doing it.
pleasure, and it is a pleasure to meet you, Ariana, Adriana.
Adriana.
Pleasure, yes, and pleasure to be on the program with you.
Oh, it's an honor to have you here on Instagram. Like you have a huge channel on YouTube. I've been at YouTube for 6 years and I've barely like it's impossible. I have over 500 videos there too, but like no one knows I have a YouTube. So good for you. You figured out some technology way better than I did.
I had some help.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. But your YouTube channel is amazing. Like everybody subscribe to Jerry on YouTube and feel free to subscribe to me too if you want to. But his information is a wealth of knowledge and that's really what it's all about. Like it's not about, sharing our pages or whatever. It's about getting the information in front of the right people. And a lot of the times it's like we're at the mercy of algorithms and stuff like that. So it's like the more that we can collaborate with others and get the info out there, I think the better.
Exactly. And I wish I would have had some of this information when I was younger.
Same.
That would have made a big difference, I
Hmm.
think.
Same. Yeah.
Uh, Now, whether I was ready for it, I don't know, could be another
Yeah.
issue, but the earlier the better. And now I say it's simply never too late.
Exactly. Exactly. It
So
is
it's
never too
time to
late.
never too late. I don't, and I have people, I'm 70 years old, 70 years young, and people tell me, well, I'm 70 years old. I don't think I can. And I'm going, never too
No.
late to have a happy childhood, never too late to get your family, dysfunctional family of origin out of you, never too late to recover from growing up in a narcissistic family. If so, what if you get 2 months of recovery in? That's 2 months you didn't have.
Exactly. It is never ever too late. I have clients in their 60s, 70s as well. And it's like, the way I see it is as long as you figure it out in your lifetime, you figure it out before you die, that is everything, right? Because it's
Everything.
like you could reach your deathbed with all that guilt and conditioning and regret and, that sense of I feel like a lot of people who don't know what they've been through in their childhood and stuff, they know that there's something wrong,
Yeah,
there's something missing,
yeah.
and so figuring out the truth, you don't have to go to your deathbed with that. And if that's all you accomplish, that's great.
And in fact, I always what I teach is natural biological systems, human. That theory is all based on uh, that,
Yeah,
and so any recovery we make in our lives can make many things easier. Our health, our emotional state, our mental states and beliefs, approaching death, that someday I'm going to die, probably sooner than others. Uh, and everything becomes a better experience for me if I have been on a recovery path.
absolutely.
And I think that's why I tell people just never give up. You're never too old. You're never, this is a chance for you to get the memo
Mhm.
you never got
100%.
growing up.
100%. Absolutely. And so what got you into dealing with, specifically healing from, a- adult children of narcissistic parents?
One of the things that drove me is with my own dysfunctional family of codependency and kind of workaholism and also maybe covert narcissism, um, that I knew that I knew there was some. Now let me say this differently. I didn't know there was something wrong. I was living in what I consider malignant normalcy. I
Hmm.
had
Ooh.
normalized the malignant.
Hmm.
And we do that, just like if
Yeah.
we've been abused and then we get into a relationship and we're abused, we kind of that's a part of our the lay of the land
Hmm.
for us.
That's a
And
great way to word it.
that's a malignant normalcy
It's
approach.
amazing. Yeah.
I don't and so it's hard to see when you're clouded by this normalcy that dysfunction is normal. And so but as I got older, as I explored more of myself or more of the recovery programs, and I learned about 12 step as an addictions counselor, so I know about the recovery 12 step life. And I also, as a marriage and family therapist, when I was doing that, I knew about that dynamic. And as a pastoral counselor, I knew about those dynamics. As a social worker, I knew about, and then working in a psychiatric clinic, there were lots of layers that I was learning, and that I saw how much I had missed and how much so many people missed because of the um, malignant normalcy, that we make malignant normal, or we're just programmed with the family trance. You know, the family trance is just, this is okay, this is what we do, this is my role, this is how I see things, this is what love is like, this is what not love is like, this is, and we have all of that hypnosis, if you want to say that, all of that mind brainwashing process going on. And so I began on a quest to kind of break that, because I wasn't happy with who I was. I had no idea who I was. How do you go? Tell me what book I go pull out of the library to tell me who I am. You know. Now, I'm not saying there's not self-help books. There's a bunch of them, many, many, many. And I remember reading at least 1,000 or more. I donated 1,000 books to my seminary when, because I was trying to find I was trying to find Jerry. And I knew a lot about a bunch of other things, but I needed to find out about Jerry. And that's who I didn't know, didn't love, didn't think would be lovable, was negative, but a codependent, or critical, self-critical, but codependent, and traumatized with some physical abuse. And so it was a bad mix of things that I'd gone through, which many of your followers, and I'm sure, have experienced. And to be able to, for someone to kind of shine a light and go, hey, come this way, you know, it really made a big difference when I began to understand self-differentiation, and plus all of these other dynamics that I had learned. And then I put them together and I said, hey, most of all, and I don't know everything for sure, but everything I've learned, let me give that to you. And you can have it for free here, you know, because people gave freely to me too, especially when I was at my very bottom. I mean, they gave to me too, and I wanted to give back as well. So that's, my path started with my own family, my own crazy choices, my own lack of knowing myself. Who am I going to be when I grow up? I don't know. You know, I just want to not feel as much shame and guilt and self-doubt and worthlessness. You know,
pretty much.
Rather than what am I going to be in my life, I just want to experience less of that. You know, how do I, where do I go, where do I go get that pill?
Exactly.
And so on that quest, I've been on that since probably 1979.
Wow.
Moving along that way and trying to learn how to find out about this guy, Jerry.
Amazing.
I'm sure you have your own amazing story, and I look forward to watching more of your stuff, because I want to learn more about what you've been through too.
Totally. Long story short, chronic pain led me here.
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah. Literally, right? The mind-body connection, so real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Totally.
So I've been, so I wanted to go through a number of iterations of trying to be myself.
Yeah.
And I was trying to be myself as a college student, trying to be myself as a pastor, trying to be myself to go to be a lawyer, trying to be, but I was just trying to be myself.
Exactly.
Well, that's
It's not being yourself.
That's not being yourself. That's trying to be yourself. And I noticed how that was a problem. And and why was I doing all of these things? Oh, I also sang professionally for years, and I pastored and did a number of things. And so the issue was, I am myself if I'm doing what everybody else wants me to do. That's what selfhood meant to me. And that's not a good selfhood.
Yeah.
that you're going to go on a lot of different trails and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'll do this for dad, do that for mom, maybe a little for me because I did like music. But dad wasn't all that thrilled about
Mm.
that. How are you going to make a living? You're going to starve as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to do something solid, like go to law school or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but how could I decide what was right for me
Yeah,
if I didn't know me?
exactly.
How do I how do I make that decision?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, I relationship problems, those kinds of difficulties. Well, if I don't know me, if I don't love me,
Mm-hmm.
how am I gonna have relationships at work?
Yeah,
And so many people say, "Well, how am I going to find a good partner? How am I going to find a good relationship?" Work on the one you have right now
exactly.
between you and you.
Yep, exactly. I tell my
Well,
clients all the time.
but that doesn't give me a partner. Oh, let's try. Let's
Exactly.
just try. Let's just
Exactly. Try and you'll see. Because
try. You'll
I
see.
tell my clients all the time, the most important relationship you are ever going to have is the one you have with yourself. You're with you the moment you're born till the moment you die, and you're all you have. Like you're the only
Right.
person who can guarantee have your own back.
And many people look at that and they might say, well, Adriana, that's just so hopeless then. Because I don't love me, I don't like me, I'm not confident, I've hated myself, blah blah blah, and so you can understand why they might feel discouraged
Of
by that.
course.
Well, I understand the discouragement. However, in that you do understand that's where you're at. You think the way you think about yourself is truly you,
Hmm.
and I consider it a pseudo self.
Hmm.
And I consider it, if you have feelings like shame and guilt, a lot of shame and guilt are what I call systems feelings. They're feelings that came from the system.
Yes.
They're not your true feelings,
Hmm.
because how many times have you felt guilty or ashamed and you did nothing wrong?
Exactly.
Now you tell me that's a true feeling of yours? You didn't do anything wrong.
No. Your
No,
parents installed it.
your parents installed it and you do it on cue.
Hmm.
You're playing the role, you're playing the game. You're
Exactly.
connected, your umbilical cord is connected to that family supercell.
Hmm.
And we want to begin to learn to separate from that overall super self that everybody in the family is connected to,
Hmm.
so that I get the programming out of me.
Exactly.
And I think, yeah, you're right. Your parents
Yeah.
installed it.
Yeah.
And that's hopeful,
Hmm.
because if they installed it,
You can uninstall
you
it.
can uninstall it. And people go,
Exactly.
"Oh, no, you can't. Oh, I don't think I could ever." That thought you just told me is one of their thoughts.
Exactly.
Now we have a systems thought.
Hmm.
So, it, because that's your paradigm, that's your programming.
Exactly.
The good news is you can change that.
Hmm. A
And
hundred
and if
percent.
and let me tell you, if I can do it,
Yeah.
anybody can do it. And people
Same.
go, "Oh, no, no, no! You started out on third base, Jerry, and got a home run, and I was not on third base.
Exactly.
Believe me, I was
Exactly.
not." Yeah, and I had grown up as an adult child of sexual abuse, physical abuse. Um,
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
not sure. Not that there was no good in my life,
Hmm.
and nor did I not ever had
Yeah.
fun, or I'm not saying
But
that.
trauma's
But
trauma.
trauma is trauma. I don't care. And that, so it wasn't just an easy third base, and I'll just, oh, well, now I know who I am.
Exactly. It's
I had no idea.
exactly. And the thing that a lot of people don't understand is like, when, like both of us really, like we're at a point in our own healing journeys. And I don't think the healing journey ever ends. I think it's just, it becomes part of your lifestyle. And so it's like we're so far along on our healing journey. So it's easy for people to think that like we somehow had it easy. But like,
or
absolutely
woke
not.
up this way.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Like, I've been healing for 6 years now. And, it has taken 6 years of like blood, sweat, and tears to get to where I'm at. And however much longer I have on this planet is going to continue being a healing journey because that's just, you don't just get over a lifetime of trauma because you decided to. You know what I mean? So, that's something that a lot of people don't understand. So just because, you see those of you watching live or in the replay, you see Jerry, he's been healing since 1979, right? That's a long time. And it might seem like, oh, well, so easy for him to talk, but no, he's been through it. So that's just something so important for people to understand. And, it's one of those things too where it's like it's part of the conditioning where a narcissistic upbringing will make you believe that other people just do things so easily because like the narcissistic parent kind of makes you believe that it's so easy to ruin somebody's life or change your life or whatever goalpost they've moved for you. It's just the easiest thing ever.
Right.
So that's part of that conditioning that can also be unlearned as well.
And it can be, and that's the good news. And I think when you do this debriefing, when you do this working on the brainwashing and all of those things, that you can begin to find experiences where you may heal very quickly about something.
Hmm.
Some things may take a while over
Hmm.
time, but
Hmm.
you may also, I can remember getting to the point of having to decide, am I going to love me or am I not?
Exactly.
Because I've got to decide that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I
Ugh.
don't want to have to decide that. And but how powerful that was in that moment, because it was at that point I said, Jerry, you have the freedom to do either one.
Yeah.
You have the absolute freedom. Nobody's making you. You have the freedom to do either one. What do you want to do? And people will tell me, well, Jerry, how do I love myself? I don't know how to love myself. It's not a how question. It's a when question.
Exactly.
And people go, because it's not like I got the memo from God with all the rules and everything you do to be a self. He did, it's not, oh, well, I have all the answers now. No, it's a change of heart towards you.
Yeah.
And that's a choice. Love is a
Yeah.
choice. Loving you is a choice.
Exactly.
And I knew I didn't need any more data or information. I didn't need any more self-help books,
Hmm.
because self-help books is not the equivalent of loving you.
Exactly.
Are self-help books helpful?
Yes.
Yes, but they don't decide whether you're going to love yourself or not.
Exactly.
That's your choice.
Exactly.
I remember making that choice, and that was a very quick healing
Amazing.
moment. I didn't say I was all recovered and
Of
everything's fine,
course. Yeah.
but it was a very instantaneous,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm really determined to love myself. I've got a lot
Amazing.
not to love, but that doesn't matter. I
Exactly.
am going to love me as I am
Exactly.
and then go from there.
Exactly. 100%. And, something I tell my clients all the time too, it's like obviously everyone struggles with self-love and it's like, well, how do you do it? And it's like, well, don't worry about the how, but consider that the fact that you even reached out for help to begin with, there's already like something, a little something in there that loves you enough to reach out.
To
So
reach
that's
out.
already, you're already 10 steps ahead. And I think, that's why that healing happened so fast for you, because it was just you already did love yourself. It was just making that decision finally.
When I was a therapist, social worker, all those things, and as I am a coach now, that I think of myself as a midwife.
Yeah.
I want to bring you as far as I can bring you to the point where you have to make
Yeah.
that decision, but only you can make it.
Mm-hmm.
Only you can have the baby. I can't have the baby.
Mm-hmm.
I can only midwife you, and I'll use every tool and every knowledgeable thing I can to get you right up to the edge, and then you have to take the step.
Mm-hmm.
and that has helped. I think that has been a good analogy for me to use,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm a midwifer. I
Yeah,
want to midwife you into recovery. Can't do your recovery for you. Nobody can do your recovery
exactly.
for you. Nobody can decide for you to love you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
self-love is love by the self.
exactly.
People go, how do I raise my self-esteem? Well, uh, I don't have a shot that says
Yeah,
self-esteem and I put it into you.
self-esteem pills.
Self-esteem pills, those would be wonderful. I'd be on a beach
Yeah,
somewhere enjoying myself.
same.
The self-love is, are you ready to raise your self-esteem? Are you ready to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And they go, well, I think I am. Okay, well, that tells me you're not. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with not being ready.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. You haven't been ready for a long time. Let's not shame you over that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's accept that.
Mm-hmm.
And then go home, and I want you to tell yourself, I am not yet ready to raise my own self esteem. I'm not yet ready, and I still
Mm-hmm.
love me, but I'm not ready.
It's all about being
Say,
honest with yourself.
say that 100 times a day, and then all of a sudden you might begin to have this experience where then it starts to
Mm-hmm.
happen. The other approach I help people with in terms of like self-esteem, for example, or guilt or anything, if you're going to give up low self-esteem and add to your self-esteem, or if you're going to give up your guilt, because that's what people go, I just can't stop feeling guilty around my mother or my father. No, you can, you're just not ready to,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Now let's ask, if I waved a magic wand and you no longer had that guilt, tell me what the downsides
Mm-hmm.
would be. That's what I want to know. The downsides, not the up. And then they always give me upsides. Oh well, then I'd be happier.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd be no. I
There is no
know that
downside.
there is no downside, right? And I'm saying, but the problem is, you think there is no downsides, but that's what holds you
Mm-hmm.
into not letting go of the
Exactly.
guilt. And then when we start talking about the downsides, oh, well, my mom wouldn't like that at all. And everybody around me would think I'm not a good person or not a good Christian or not a good
Mm-hmm.
Muslim or not a good whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't feel guilty, I would have my nose in the air. I would be selfish. There's a lot of downsides we fear
Mm-hmm.
if we don't have those things. Resolving those can help you birth the baby of letting go of the
Mm-hmm.
guilt. For
Exactly.
example.
Exactly. And that's such a great like example too, because it's like what a lot of people don't understand is when you're doing the inner work, right? You have to deal with your emotions and you are the only person who can do the inner work and process your own emotions. So one of the biggest things I like to tell my clients, because they obviously all feel guilty for setting boundaries or existing,
Oh, yeah.
just the guilt
Just
is thick,
exist. Exactly.
the guilt is everywhere. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you're feeling guilty for making a decision for yourself that's going to help you and not support the narcissist's narrative, and they're going to be upset about it,
Which they will.
which they will, who's responsible for their emotions? They are.
No, I am. Yeah, I am. Is what
Exactly.
I'm going to
Exactly.
have
But
to
it's a big
change them. I'm
lesson.
going to have to
Yeah,
be there for them. I'm going to have to
exactly.
change my ways so they won't be unhappy.
Nope, nope. You got to
Nope.
let them self-soothe.
They,
They have to figure it out.
you have to tolerate their discomfort.
Exactly.
You have to tolerate their burden of their own
Mm-hmm.
feelings. And a lot of us as codependents or ACONs or, adult children, we don't tolerate that very well to allow others to feel the pain of their own unhealthy feelings,
Mm-hmm.
their own system's feelings
Exactly.
that they learned growing up.
Exactly.
We're not used to tolerating that.
Exactly.
And so we then end up with this I gotta, I can't change because if I change, relationships and the relationships in the system will not welcome that. And
Exactly.
I'm going, okay, then I wouldn't suggest you change today. You may want to change a lot slower.
Hmm.
Well, but I want to get over this. No, no, you can't have it both ways.
Exactly.
You can't have it both ways.
Exactly.
But I understand that. I understand that
Yeah.
conflict because I've lived that conflict. I don't know how many times. So I
Hmm.
do understand. I'm not making fun of
No,
anybody
no.
who has that conflict. It is hard. On the one hand, I want to change. I want to change. And so many times people say, "Well, what do you mean I'm not ready to give up my guilt yet?" Of course I'm ready to give it up. And I go, "No, no, you're not, because if you were, it wouldn't be there."
Hmm.
So you're 49% ready to give it up, 51% not ready to give it up. So I'll give you credit for the 49%. What do we need to do to flip the scales? What do we need to do to tip that scale?
Hmm.
And that's usually where the downsides come.
Hmm.
And well, do you know? And I just thought of this. What's one of the most scary things an adult child of a narcissist, let's say that, would be faced with? Because they've been faced with a
Hmm.
lot of stuff, right? Trauma,
Hmm.
abuse, negativity, criticism, hate, who
Hmm.
knows what. And so they faced a lot. I said,
Hmm.
but there is something more scary.
Hmm.
That's being your true self.
Yes. It's
That's
horrifying.
totally horrifying and terrifying.
Yeah.
And and I try to help them with uh, coming to accept that new. I How did I teach them to be a midwife to their own becoming a
Hmm.
self and to self differentiating?
Right.
How do I help them be a midwife for
Hmm.
that? And that's what I work on, to help people to do that, so they can tolerate their own discomfort while they're growing and becoming the true them.
Yes. That's exactly it. Like tolerating your own discomfort, because that's where the healing is,
It,
right? It's
it really,
literally that that's where the magic happens. If you're, and the thing to understand too is like emotions are not going to kill you. And,
no,
right? And like with the
negative,
mind-body connection,
negative feelings don't have to kill you.
exactly.
Emotions don't have
Exactly.
to kill you. I mean, it's really right.
Yeah.
And so many times I use this, and this has helped ACONs and codependents like me. Well, let me tell you, the situation is hopeless, but it's not serious.
Hmm.
Well, the whole world will fall apart. Okay,
What can you do
what,
about it
what are
if
you
it
going to do
does?
about it? I mean,
You're one person.
but I'll be terrified to be my real self. If I be my real self, it'll be terrifying. It'll be horrible. Okay,
Only
and
one way to find out.
there's only one way to find out, and you're making it more serious
Yes,
than it needs to be.
exactly.
You have been programmed to make this more serious.
Exactly.
That's a part of your programming.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
And, and so that's, you keep thinking that's your own thought, that it's going to be horrible. No, no, that's been pushed into
Yeah,
you to experience that, because most of the time, recovery and healing is something that humans can do.
mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
a
we sure can.
natural part. Healing is natural for humans.
Yeah,
I sorry,
yeah.
it just is.
It just is. It really is.
It just
It
is.
really is. And, narcissistic parents will do what they can to prevent you from healing because they don't want you to heal. So there's part of that conditioning in it as well from the abuse, that it's like, if I heal, I'm selfish. And then you feel guilty that, you're being selfish. And so, it's a big exercise in understanding that nobody's entitled to you. And that in itself can help, spark a little bit more of that self-love to come through little by little.
Absolutely. And the narcissistic parent has a hard time with you being a genuine self
Mm-hmm.
and mature, self-differentiating self, um, because it triggers their shame.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's why they can't be okay with that.
Exactly.
They just cannot accept that,
Exactly.
uh, and will resist that.
A hundred
And
percent. A
yeah,
100%. And it's part of the shame rage cycle too with narcissists, just in general. I think just a little crash lesson for everyone. If you trigger a narcissist shame, they will rage. And so you can trigger a narcissist shame by just existing and being yourself and not caring. And that's going to piss the narcissist off because normal people who experience shame are going to self-reflect. They're going to be like,
reflect.
ooh, I feel
I
shame,
wonder. I wonder what this is
right?
about.
I'm embarrassed by my behavior. Maybe I should like not do this next time, right? Like that's how shame works. But a narcissist, instead, like they're just gonna get angry and they'll just rage at you and they'll just, throw the abuse your way just because you're you.
And you and I, our shame would flow through us.
Hmm.
We self-reflect. A narcissist, it only gets triggered and pinged, and
Yes,
then it gets turned into rage,
exactly.
which distracts them from resolving the shame.
Exactly.
And or you become the distraction.
Hmm.
And so they'll focus on you so they don't have to focus on them.
Exactly.
And that's the whole thing, is you don't want to focus on, well, and of course they've already shamed you and taught you how you shouldn't be focusing on you because that's so selfish, so blah 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 blah. And they do it for another psychologically pathological bad reason,
Hmm.
that they can't self-reflect because their whole world will fall apart if they dealt with their
Exactly.
shame. The whole scaffolding would come falling down
Exactly.
psychologically.
100%.
And that's why I keep trying to tell people, stop trying to change your narcissist,
Exactly.
because you're playing with something you really shouldn't, because I'm not saying I wish narcissists wouldn't change. I wish they would.
We all wish they would.
We all wish they would.
I
Yeah.
don't want to have to do this.
I really don't.
You know?
And
We shouldn't be making this content. These adults should just be
it
adults. But
should
hey, it's
just
all
be
good.
enough. But if we are causing them their defense mechanisms that are unhealthy
Hmm.
to crumble
Exactly.
when we have those heart-to-heart discussions with them,
Yes.
because we don't know how we're taking the turtle and cutting off his shell.
Hmm.
So good luck going to a turtle, taking his shell, and then saying, now go and live healthy.
Poor turtle.
And so we can't do that with narcissists either. Maybe they could find some therapy. Maybe there's some drug that might help them to some degree. But we trying to get them to be different is
Exactly.
certainly, as you know, not a
Exactly.
wise.
They have to choose that. And they
They
won't choose that.
and
And like the
they,
thing is, anyone can change, anyone can go to therapy, anyone can do, make changes in their lives to be better people. Narcissists will not make those changes. And the more that you wait for them to do it, the more you wait for them to do it. And you're going to waste your time.
exactly. Well, and then you're living by
Hmm.
the pseudo or the family super self,
Yep.
programming the family Wi-Fi of the narcissistic family that has taught you that, um, what was the point about not, if you wait for them, I just lost mine, that that if you keep at it, change will happen,
Hmm.
and you must always keep trying to do that. That's a part of the unhealthy programming that we've had, that I need to just always try to help people be better. You're using normal rules for abnormal and toxic relationships. We must not do that. And that's one of the principles of the program that I teach.
Amazing.
You can't use normal rules.
Exactly.
It for an abnormal relationship. And so many people want to do that, and then they get burnt, they get stung, they get used, and then they spend their lifetime waiting on fantasies to happen and don't get to their own healing because they're waiting on. They're also under the belief, here's the belief I would miss, under the belief that I am happy when you are healthier and happier. And that's how I get happy. That's an unhealthy, narcissistic family belief that has been instilled in you because that's not true.
Exactly.
In fact, I can be happy and other people can be unhappy. Believe it or not. If I have some distance, some safe detachment as self-differentiated, and self-differentiation is truly being yourself while not absorbing the toxicity of others. And living living all of those family super self rules, beliefs, and paradigms, and then being a true self. Now that sounds easy, and there's a lot to it. I mean, but that's kind of the motto, and it is a lifelong work. Self-differentiation is not something you achieve; it's a work you do. So that's why it's lifelong, as you mentioned.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like, really understanding that it's okay to piss people off, because like the narcissist is going to be pissed off regardless of what you do.
It doesn't matter, right?
It's just that conditioning.
If there's no choice, and they're going to be pissed off, no matter what you do. Well, the situation is hopeless, but not serious.
Exactly.
They're just going to be pissed off.
Exactly. And if they're not pissed off by what you think they're going to be pissed off by, they're going to be pissed off by something else.
Pissed off by with something else.
Exactly.
And so then they go, but it feels so bad to me that they would be pissed off. And I'm going, there's the problem, not the narcissist.
Exactly. They need to work through those emotions of it feeling bad.
Exactly. You have to work through, why must you feel bad? Who's telling you, I don't, who's making that happen in you? I understand programming that has, but then also there is that sense of the narcissist isn't making you do anything.
Exactly.
I'm not saying they're not unpleasant, and not could be, all those things are true.
Yeah.
But I get to decide how I regulate my how I regulate my own emotions. I get to regulate my own self-awareness, and I get to regulate my own self-differentiation. So, and nobody else is in charge of that.
Exactly.
I've let everybody else be in charge of that, which is why I'm in the mess that I'm in. That's
totally.
That's how we get there.
Totally. Absolutely. So if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self to, about everything, like what's one thing how do I word this question? Like what would you say to him to help him see things faster, maybe?
Oh, I think that's a great question. Though a hard one.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things I might want to share with a younger self.
Your top 3.
Right. And I think some of it has been some of the things I've even learned.
Yeah.
Such as these types of things. I might tell him, Jerry, much of what you've learned, what you feel, and what you think is not yours. And so I hope you will begin the journey more so to begin to recognize you don't have to own those things, and you can begin to be yourself
Mhm.
and let your light or yourself start to shine through. And you might think this feels so automatic, all of these things, and they do, and they feel very stubborn, they feel very stuck, and they feel like
Mhm.
reality. They feel this is reality. Let me give you the good news. They're not. And I hope one day you will continue to experience that more and more.
Amazing. Amazing. And I think that probably spoke to a lot of the audience as well who's watching. And it's what advice would you give to somebody who's like super, super struggling with guilt right now?
Hmm. If somebody guilt uh, directed my entire life.
Hmm.
I mean,
Samesies.
I,
Yeah.
you know, you always make a decision and choose it by the least amount of guilt it would produce. So that's how I would make
Yep.
my
Same.
decision.
Same. Story
You
of my
know,
life.
you know,
Yep.
and I suppose it's better than a kick in the head, but
Hmm.
it's not a great way to,
Yeah.
you know, to kind of run a life or a
Totally.
self.
Totally.
If someone's struggling with guilt, first of all, I might say, where did you learn it? Would be number one. Do you know where you learned this? When did this begin? Because it didn't just begin with your marriage. It didn't just begin when you were in college. It probably began long ago. And number two, how real is your guilt? I remember teaching, I remember doing seminars, and I taught, I think when I was doing pastoral counseling, and talked about false guilt, real guilt, spiritual guilt, systems guilt, which is family systems guilt, and all kinds of different types of guilt. And do you identify which guilt this is? Rather than going all guilt's the same, if I have the feeling, it's the real feeling of how I feel. Don't we want to change that thought?
Hmm.
Is it false guilt, systems guilt, real guilt, true guilt? I mean, if I do something wrong, and I probably would feel
Hmm.
guilt. That's true
Of
guilt.
course.
That's,
Yeah.
that's perfectly
Yeah.
okay. Um, and so we want to look at, and the systems guilt is the family has taught us whenever you do this, feel this way, or think this way, guilt must
Hmm.
follow. It has to.
Hmm.
Even if it makes no
Hmm.
sense, it must follow because it's part of the role, the script that's been written for you
Exactly.
for your life.
Exactly.
And so I think I would tell them, if you're having a hard time letting it go, instead of giving up or instead of berating yourself, because neither is going to help you,
Hmm.
I would begin to say, I am not yet ready to let go of my guilt
Hmm.
about my mom, about this, about that, whatever, or in general. And that secondly, I need to explore, if that guilt totally went away today, what problems would it cause for me?
Hmm.
And don't tell me it wouldn't.
Yeah.
I already know because whenever somebody comes to me and says, I'm ready to let go of this guilt, if you're ready, then you're not ready. Because if you're ready, the guilt goes.
Hmm.
It's gone. It evaporates.
Hmm.
So, and again, I'm not making fun of anyone. I had the same problem.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, guilt was major.
Yeah.
And but beginning to realize there's freedom from guilt,
Yes.
and that if I can understand what are the downsides of me having only true guilt,
Yeah.
and getting rid of the other guilts that I have, that if I can identify those downsides, I have something to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I like the notion of accept yourself where you are. I am not ready to give up this guilt. It's just too strong right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure how to do it. You can say how, but it's more of a when question. But also looking at the dynamics of, if I with my guilt, uh, who who would I be without it?
Mm-hmm.
What would you be doing differently if you didn't have
Mm-hmm.
it? What would that look like? And also accepting yourself that I am not ready, and then adding to that statement, which you can, is, and I love you just the way you are,
Mm-hmm.
even with your unreadiness to let go of the guilt.
Exactly.
That helps, believe it or not, it helps melt the glue that holds the guilt in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps melt that glue. And I'm always trying to find ways to melt the glue of stuckness. How can I melt that?
Mm-hmm.
What can we do? How can I midwife this and melt that glue? And what things can we get out of the way,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can, because healing and recovery is not something abnormal, non-human, non-natural. It is picking up doing what we should have done
Mm-hmm.
naturally if we'd had a healthy, functioning family.
Pretty
That's
much.
what we would have done. We would
Exactly.
have, we're just picking that back up and doing
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah. Exactly. I think it's also important to like recognize the role of guilt for, the people that put that guilt in you, right? Because people who feel guilty are easier to control. So part of the not being ready, I think a way to maybe challenge it is like, are you ready to get these people to stop having control over you through guilt?
And then let me add the second part to that. Are you ready to let them, you know, and if you get them out of controlling you and your life, then you are responsible for your life.
Mm-hmm,
Are
exactly.
you ready for that? Oh, no, 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 no. Well, then you better
Then
hold
good
on to
luck.
your
Yep.
guilt. Hold on to your guilt a
Yep.
little longer,
Yep.
and think about that some more. And you may decide later on that I think I'm maybe ready to take responsibility for my own life and not be controlled
Mm-hmm.
by everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand how it can be. I do understand, having grown up in enmeshed relationships, family, etc., that if I reject my dependence and reject their control, I am then nakedly have to be an adult.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty scary.
That's pretty scary, yeah.
And that's and I have to take responsibility for
Mm-hmm.
I can't even blame it on other people.
Exactly.
Whatever I do, I have to. This is my choice,
Exactly.
and
I mean, you
that's,
could blame the conditioning,
oh,
but you have to take the
absolutely,
responsibility to work through
that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and we always said, when I was in rehab for alcohol and drug abuse, and as a family counselor, and we would always say, you are 0% responsible for the disease and for your alcoholism. You're 100% responsible for your recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the
Yeah.
same for us.
You're
You know,
not responsible
I,
for the trauma, you're responsible for the
I
recovery.
exactly. I didn't choose what family to be in. I didn't, and or to go through these things.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm not 5 years old anymore.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so we take responsibility, not in a shaming
Mm-hmm.
way or victim blaming way, only in a, now we have to choose to love us in a way that we were not loved.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
you are capable of doing that. You really
100%.
are capable.
100%.
Boy, believe in that. I remember a time when I would said, no way.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
no, you're just, this is
Yeah.
madness.
Yeah, I didn't think healing was a thing. I was like, yeah, there's no hope for me. It is what
There's
it
no hope.
is.
There's no hope.
Yeah.
I'll
So,
accept that. I'll
yeah,
just accept
it's just my fate. I'm scarred for life. That's
that.
it.
I did feel
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. It's, that was how I really thought I'd be spending the rest of my life. Just scarred, no hope for healing. It is what it is, but no,
Well, and
there's
if you'd
hope.
asked me in 1979, maybe even 1985, maybe even 1988, I don't, whatever. If you'd asked me, Jerry, do you think you could ever feel this way about you uh, at that time? Would you have believed that? And I would have said, absolutely not. And I remember seeing other people and going, why can't I be like them?
Mhm.
Why can't I feel like them? Why can't I? They seem happy and they seem kind of adjusted and or mature or whatever. Because I just thought this will never change.
Mhm.
There is no real
No.
change. Just I mean, maybe there's some I can do some external patchworks and band-aids, but there's no I'm gonna feel this crappy forever.
Yeah.
And to have that not be true,
It's wild.
I can die happy.
Exactly.
Die happy.
Exactly.
And I mean that. And I'm closer to death than you are. And I mean it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just proof that literally it is never too late to start the healing. It is, you've been through such a long healing journey. You're taking this with you and helping other people, and that's so freaking amazing.
It is I am blessed and fortunate in so many ways. And I've told people that I said all the struggles and problems, and I've got plenty of I've been through. And severe ones, really
Yeah.
difficult ones, and bad
Hmm.
choices, and bad relationships. I can go on and on. And however, um, to be able to be in a more healing recovery spot, it is just the dream I always dreamed of.
Yeah.
I always thought I always wished and hoped that I could have a Rolls Royce.
Do it.
And well, and I'll take your check and I'll be happy to get it. Uh, though that's the whole story behind the Rolls Royce thing, and just even that was a part of my healing as well. I don't have a Rolls Royce, but I mean there is a part where it does involve that. And I've talked about it on the videos even
Amazing.
because my therapist asked me if you could do anything for yourself, just for yourself, by yourself, and not with your family, what would you do? Well, I have no idea. What are you talking about? No, something you would enjoy and you would get. I would rent a Rolls Royce convertible and stay a weekend at the Hotel Queen Mary in Long Beach, California.
Nice.
I didn't even think any of that was even possible. And he said, check it out.
And you did
And I did it.
it?
And I have never been the same
Oh, that's so
since.
amazing.
So if, I feel my life has been transformed in so many ways. And I'm so grateful for what I've learned from others. And I wanted to pass that on to other people because I know how life can feel dark.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very dark
Yeah.
and alone.
Hmm.
And you're not alone. It doesn't have to be dark. And I've even told people, okay, then start watching the videos. I got 500 of them. Give them a try. What have you got to lose? It doesn't cost you
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly.
I mean, and see if you begin to make changes, even unconsciously.
Amazing. Amazing. Any final words of wisdom for anybody watching? Any pieces of advice that just random pieces of advice that you want to throw out there?
Well, and I think even the point I made earlier, which is Well, here's a couple things I would tell people. First of all, begin to separate feelings from thoughts. When we when that is all meshed together, we're more immature and less self-differentiated. The more you separate thoughts from feelings, the more self-differentiated you will become and more mature. And the reason being, and I'm not saying feel less, think more, think less, feel more. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is a feeling, this is a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when I say to someone, well, how did you feel when your wife said that? Well, I felt judged, and I felt, no, that's not a feeling. You you concluded that she was judging you. That's a thought. Sad, mad, glad, shame, hurt, those are feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can also talk about your thoughts too, but let's not share a thought when we mean a feeling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So begin to separate those out. And then second of all, just like we had mentioned earlier, which is don't use normal rules and behavior for abnormal relationships.
Yes.
You will be at a disadvantage, you will be taken advantage of, and you'll continue in the abuse.
Mm-hmm. Could not agree more. Mic drop
And
moment right there.
and I just because I never knew, I always used the normal, right, appropriate rule should be used for everyone at all times in every
Yep.
situation. Good luck.
Yeah. Doesn't exist.
Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it works out. Well, I really do. I just got twisted all up.
Yeah.
And so we want to be, what does it say? We want to be as uh, wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove.
I like that.
And that's what I have been reaching for.
Yeah. Same without even realizing it. Amazing.
And so I try to teach people to not be reactive, rageful, and all that, which is being a dove, and then also be as wise as a serpent. Let's
Mm-hmm.
learn family systems
Yeah.
thinking and self-differentiation thinking so we can change our paradigm and change our programming.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can kind of fulfill that.
Totally. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jerry. This has been so amazing. How can people find you if they're not familiar with
I
you?
think for the most part, if you just type in Jerry Wise, you'll find my website, the YouTube, just even my name. But it is Jerry Wise Relationship Systems.com, and also the same for the YouTube. I'm on Instagram as well. And I do have a free training that costs nothing. You can sign up for it. If you just go to the website, it gives you just sign up for it and you can take it. It doesn't cost anything. It's 84 minutes. And it's not me marketing anything. It's training. It's that.
Amazing.
Now there is an online program that I have, which is 6 modules, and I talk about my 45 years and everything I've learned,
Amazing.
and said, "Here's yours,"
Amazing.
at I think a minimal price. And because I want people to, but it does. I have to pay
Of
bills
course, yeah.
too. I mean, I have to
Yeah,
pay
you
my
put
light
so much
bill,
free
and
content out, right?
it's
It's,
not free.
yeah, there's free content and then there's the paid content where they get
Right.
even more. So
Even
it's,
more, and there's a lot. Well, and I can't in a 15-minute video talk about what would take 30 minutes to an hour to really teach you. So
yeah, exactly.
that's so I think that's how they could find me,
Amazing.
and I just have so enjoyed being here with you
Likewise.
today, and your wonderful smile just brightens my heart, and the discussion we've had today. I even have watched some of your content and such, and thought she certainly has the right spirit.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I had a great time with you as well. This has been such a valuable conversation. If you ever want to do another live in the future, by all means, let me know. This has been awesome, and I think people are going to learn a lot.
Wonderful.
Amazing. All right. Bye, Jerry. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye, guys.
Take care.
Take care and be wise.
That's awesome. Take
See ya.
care.